Welcome back, people. This is Dekorum, and I'm AJ.
Daniel.
And
Mitch.
we have a special guest with
Jump
us
the
today,
gun.
a friend of the show, Mitch. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Mitch. I guess I have different opinions than you guys, but I am Texas proud, hunter, fisherman, outdoorsman, and Trump supporter.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, where do we want to start? We're doing Second Amendment today?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to.
Okay.
So is that what we're going to focus on today?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's focus on it, and maybe if we have time, we can do some other things. But yeah, there's no structure, so
There's no structure
just
here.
talk.
We just talk and discuss and go as as the conversation goes.
yeah, let it flow.
Okay.
All right, Mitch, you want to start on your views on the Second Amendment? What is your overall view of what the Constitution says about the Second Amendment?
I think what I want to talk about for the Second Amendment is the infringements of
Okay.
all of our rights, things being taken away from us. And little by little, we're eroding our rights, and I'm afraid that there's going to be nothing left. I'm not
Okay.
going to have the enjoyment of going out hunting, of sport shooting,
Mm-hmm.
and I worry about it.
Sure. Okay. I think it's a fair concern.
So your main concern is hunting or just having a gun in the house. Is that where?
Protection as well? Yeah.
Yes, I
Homebred.
do have weapons in the house for protection, and I'm not just looking out for me, right? I'm looking out for everyone that enjoys firearms. And I think a lot of ignorance is out there, and trying to take it away without knowing anything about it.
Okay.
See a lot of these gun rallies, anti-gun rallies. Yeah, they ask them questions, and they have no idea.
Sure.
So do you think that ignorance comes from not being educated about the guns, or is it because they're afraid of it, or is it because they just don't like it? I
Maybe
mean,
media?
media.
I think the media is a big part of this. They've never shot a weapon in their life. They've never been around them, so they demonize it because that's what they hear on the news. And at the forefront of the news, you hear about these shootings. This is what is put out there all the time. You don't hear about people using weapons for protecting themselves and their families. That happens. That happens every day, and we never hear it.
So they're basically are afraid of the guns. Is that what you're saying?
They're afraid of it without knowing anything. Absolutely.
Okay, I mean, for every case of self-defense, there is a case for, abusing the rights of owning a gun. So how do we balance that? I mean, where do you go?
How about the appropriate restrictions? Like, what is appropriate?
I think background checks. I think we do need mental health help in this country. And I think a lot of these shooters that, when this happens, there are underlying issues, mental health issues. Guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. It's just like anything that you can abuse to hurt other people. I mean,
Like
if
drugs.
You can drive your car. You can speed in your car and hurt people. We don't ban cars. You don't ban sports cars because they go faster. But you want to ban an AR because what? Because it's scary in the news?
That's not the. I mean, cars have other uses. I mean, you can use a car to kill people, but
You have.
It's also used to
Primarily for
transportation. You can take your kids to elementary school
That's
or
correct.
to a baseball game.
And I could teach my son to shoot and hunt and harvest his own food.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
It's been
You
done
can-
since-
you have a sports car for fun, right? I mean, what's the purpose of having a Lamborghini other than driving fast?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a soccer mom car, you know?
Yeah.
No, it's
I mean,
impractical. Right?
well, what's the definition of impractical?
Mm,
That's the
yeah.
thing. Where do you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Where do you draw that line?
Yeah.
Right? You want to put restrictions on my gun rights. I mean, I don't agree with it. Now, I'm not unreasonable, right? Should someone own a rocket launcher? I don't have any reason to own a
Depends on
rocket
where you live, I
launcher,
suppose.
But I would think it would be fun to shoot one.
Sure.
Absolutely. And I don't want to tell someone that maybe they have those abilities to buy these expensive things that they can't have it. But again, I am not unrealistic here.
Do you see a correlation between gun violence and the amount of guns in the country? So we have around 393 million guns, highest murder rates in the world. Is there a correlation? No? Yes?
I mean, you use guns to kill because it works, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's what they're designed for. Hunting,
Yeah.
killing.
I mean, that is the purpose of a gun, to kill people. But
You,
I mean-
you think okay, yeah, so a gun was developed to win wars, right? But then we use it to hunt. We use it for enjoyment.
Sure.
And to take my rights away because somebody else abuses it, yes, there is violence with guns. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But I still want to use mine. I'm responsible with mine, so why should that be taken away from me?
Mm.
And why should there be limits on that?
Well, that's how laws work, though, right? It's because somebody made a mistake and hurt someone, and so you put laws in place because of that. Even though you did nothing wrong, we all have to abide by the same laws, right?
Are these laws restricting these gun rights, is that not an infringement?
No, no.
Why not?
The Supreme Court has been pretty clear about that. There was not unlimited rights to guns, right? Even Scalia, who was it 2008, Heller?
it's 2008, yes.
He was the assenting or the majority opinion, and he said, yeah, the rights are not unlimited. There can be restrictions. In fact, we know that because we see them all the time. If you go to work, right, can't take guns in work. And so we do have restrictions on guns.
Can't take it into a bar.
Private businesses that have 51% alcohol sales,
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, that's inherently dangerous, right? You want to have a drunk guy with a gun in a bar getting in a fight.
Like you don't want a guy drinking and
Yeah.
driving, right? Yeah. But yeah, we do have restrictions. I mean, it's not like we don't have. I mean, in fact, every right we have is restricted in some way, right? Every single right, the Bill of Rights, 1 through 10, every single one has a restriction. There's no such thing as absolute rights.
When do those restrictions end?
Well, that's
my
always the
point.
argument.
You want to take away AR-15s right now, right? That's the big hot one in the news.
Do I want to?
The activists that
Oh, I
want
see.
guns removed, right? This is the dangerous gun out there that everybody is afraid of, and because it looks scary.
Because it's used in so many mass killings, that's why. The majority of mass killings and school shootings are
No.
AR-15s.
No, they are not.
They're not?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, a handgun is the deadliest weapon in the United States.
It is. But the school shootings, what are they using?
I mean, they have used ARs.
Yeah.
Mass killing is usually with the automatic rifle or semi-automatic rifle.
We don't have automatic rifles.
We do have automatic rifles.
Well,
Not
there are
legally.
limits to automatic rifles, right? There are restrictions on that.
They are.
And for me to get one would be near impossible.
But not impossible.
But these can be modified,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
And that
AR-15
is
can be modified. You can buy
illegal.
one, and yeah, I mean, and any person that can buy a gun, at that moment, he's legal to own a gun, and the moment that he crosses that line, becomes illegal. But
Which is a crime.
which is a crime, but we already crossed that moment. Where, just to give an example of Las Vegas shooter, he had owned all the guns legally
Correct.
until that moment came when he started shooting at just random people. That's when he became unlawful person and not law-abiding gun owner.
Yeah.
So where do you go from that point to that point, and how do you decide this person is not going to break that law? So how do we...
I mean, how do you know if anyone's going to break law? Murders are committed all
Yeah.
over the United States every day.
Every day.
Without
Yeah.
firearms.
Yeah.
I mean, there are criminals. There are people that crack. There are people with mental issues. These, how do you find that person?
Yeah,
How do you
you're not
know?
going to find that person. I mean, there's no way to do that.
So
I know
then
how.
how can you take away my rights, assuming that, hey, maybe someday he's going to go nuts and decide to shoot someone?
Minority Report.
That doesn't seem very fair to me. Yeah, I just watched that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a way to do that,
Yeah.
I mean, but
But there's no
we're not there
predictive-
yet.
No.
We cannot.
So
By the way, scary idea, though.
yeah, it's
Oh,
very
right.
scary.
Abuse,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not for that.
abused, absolutely.
Yeah, there is no way I would go for that. I mean, this.
So the AR, right? That is the gun, and everybody.
the gun of the
uses
moment.
it. Yeah, the gun of the moment. Okay, we'll go with that, right? But it's
Yeah.
been around for a long time,
It has.
right? And a lot of these people in these protests, AR does not stand for assault rifle. Okay? AR
Yeah.
is Armalite.
Yeah.
It's just the platform that the shooting platform that they designed.
Sure.
I enjoy shooting an AR. Have you guys ever shot an AR?
Never have.
Never.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fun, and it is useful. I use it. Now people say you don't. It's not a good hunting weapon, but here in Texas, we have a plague of pigs, and I use an AR to shoot pigs. They come 20 at a time, and I can shoot one. That does absolutely nothing. Oh, and I brought a. Don't worry, don't panic here, okay? Look at that.
Security. Look at that. Is that a tusk or
That is a tusk from a boar that I shot. Now I have been run up a tree by a giant boar. In my mind, it was a giant boar.
I don't know it was
This is
show and
how
tell.
This works. Well, I just wanted to bring it to your amusement.
No, that's actually really interesting
I mean, it's
and terrifying.
These rub against each other and create a sharp edge
Yeah.
that the pig will
Smart.
gore you with.
That's the last thing I want.
I mean, I don't want to get poked by one of these things anyway.
No, you don't. And I think the AR is the best weapon for that job, even though it is not a big caliber.
I mean, we're not arguing that it's not a useful weapon. What we're arguing is where is the limit of your right to own a gun, and where my kid's right to grow up in a safe environment. I mean, not be afraid to go to school
And have shooting drills.
and shooting drills and just like the Sandy Hook. When Sandy Hook happened, I never thought that I would have this conversation with my son at that time when he was in first grade, I think.
Yeah.
I was telling him what to do in a case like that.
I did as well.
And that was just very scary. I mean, if somebody can walk in to elementary school and shoot up, a bunch of first graders.
And to be fair, it's a conversation most countries never have to have.
Yeah.
We're almost unique in the world in that situation. So,
where,
We have those
I
rights.
mean,
yeah,
Other rights are afforded to you as well
they are. Yeah.
that other countries don't have. And I
Such as?
understand, but any weapon could be used to do the Sandy Hook shooting.
yes, I mean, he could have used a truck to just bulldoze himself into the building.
Could
and
use a knife.
Yeah. So I mean that is not the point here. The point here is, where does that end? I mean, where your right to own a gun and somebody's right to live and have the right to life. So where does that happen? That is the question.
I mean, that is a question.
It seems pretty
right?
arbitrary,
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
It really does. I mean,
everybody has the right to live.
yeah, I mean, look, it could be decided by a court, right, decision, like it was in 2008.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was considered it wasn't an individual right, was it? Before 2008?
No, it was before 2008. Since I have it here, it was 1939.
Excuse me.
For 70 years, we considered the Second Amendment as a right for states to have a militia, basically. That's what it was ruled as, not individuals to have rights to have a gun, until 2008 when Anthony Scalia, may God rest in peace.
Anthony. Oh, I'm sorry.
Anthony.
It's probably Anthony.
Yeah. So
my point is, it was arbitrary, right? It could have
Yeah.
gone either way. I mean, because it was DC who said that it was like no handguns, right? What it was.
yeah, it was against.
And he said, I think I have a right to a handgun.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court said, yeah, you do.
And even he said you have a right to a gun,
Yeah.
not to any gun.
Or multiple guns? Or you only get one, or what?
Yeah, it said
I mean, he said a gun. That means you can have a gun, but states, Congress, they can put a limit. What kind of gun? What parameters it can have. All that. So
It would have been nice to have a clear amendment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 2 lines, or maybe 1 line with commas or semicolons.
I mean, even if you read Second Amendment, in in there it says a well-regulated militia. I mean, there is no talk of hunting.
To protect against what?
Tyranny.
Tyranny, right?
But we have a military now.
Well,
We have a military run by the government. And how many people here trust the government?
I know that having an AR-15 is not going to matter against the government.
Would it not?
No.
You think if something happened here, the government, the military, would just run us over?
Yeah, I do.
Well, those are Americans. You don't think a portion of the military would defect to join
They would.
the Americans against the government?
Look at Nazi Germany. Did they defect?
I have seen studies about this where the majority of the military would, in fact, join back with the civilians and fight against the government.
So they say. When you're brainwashed the way you're in the military, look at Russia.
If you're brainwashed like the media wants you to be.
Like the military brainwashes you. No difference.
I mean, that's the first thing they teach you is to obey.
And don't
in the
forget,
military.
there's more than one media. There's liberal media,
You
conservative
got
media.
96%.
Yeah. 96%. Plus you have the radio waves, right? Which reaches a lot of people.
But I don't know where the middle ground is on this. I don't. I'm just an
No one
average
does.
guy. I didn't start hunting until I got put up a tree by a wild pig. And that's what led me to this.
I've
and
been
then,
hunting.
Eating myself.
I've been hunting. Have you been hunting? My dad used to hunt.
I've never been hunting.
So you think the right to hunt should be in the Second Amendment? That's not like, just part of
Hunting
it,
is
right?
not part of the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution it says you have a.
Yeah, I'm saying.
They didn't care
you
about
think
animals.
They should put it in there. I mean, we came from a society that's what they did, right? Up until
Yeah.
100 years ago, we
Sure.
just raising livestock now for food.
Agrarian cultures. Yeah.
But I don't want to eat the cows that are injected with hormones, the chickens. I'd rather get my food from the wild. I'd rather have my family eat food from the wild.
I don't
But-
blame. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat at all.
can you kill a cow with just a rifle?
Or how did the slaughterhouse do it?
They have a rod that plugs them in the head.
You could do that, right? If you wanted to. No Country for Old
What
Men.
my family does is you take a cow, you load them, and you take them to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
And you have it butchered in the cuts that you want. Then we dole it out, put it in the freezer, you sell some.
What's your favorite cut of meat?
Well, I love a steak.
Love a steak. All right, AJ. I know you're a meat eater.
Yeah, steak is my favorite.
can keep
too.
it light,
I mean,
it's okay.
ribeye.
I was filet
Yeah,
mignon. Oh, I was always
When you ate meat.
yeah, when I ate meat. It was me.
the ribeye is my favorite.
Have you ever
Part of
had
it.
duck?
Yeah,
I've had
Wild
duck.
duck, not
Not wild duck.
Peking duck, right? It's
No.
completely different.
Never had it.
never had wild duck.
It's tender,
had-
it's delicious.
I've had deer
My
and
wife
rabbit.
hates it, but
Yeah, and wild pig. So that's
pig
about
in the
it.
freezer now.
Never had wild.
I've had kangaroo.
I've had a kangaroo burger.
Have you?
You had
Bison.
beaver?
Never had beaver. Turtle.
I have not
like
had,
random
I've not
animals.
had turtle.
Alligator. I've had
I-
alligator.
I've had alligator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not my proudest moment.
No,
Oh.
it's not. I tried it, but it's not one of my favorites things.
That's a nice little segue.
Yeah.
Should try beaver. Beaver's delicious
Oh,
because I am a beaver trapper.
oh,
That's
beaver.
correct.
Okay. I got off track for a second.
I'm sorry. I took
No,
us
no,
back.
that beaver. Okay.
Eating wild foods.
No, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, no, I definitely support the right of hunters. You know,
Right.
just to bring up another country, Japan, what they do is they allow a shotgun, no handguns, right? They allow shotguns and air rifles. So they're a hunting society as well. They've had 10 murders, less than 10 murders per year the past several decades, and there are 127 million people. That's all I'm saying. Just one statistic out of many.
A country that doesn't allow immigrants
Does not allow immigrants.
to protect our culture.
That's right. Oh, they're hardcore.
But they have air guns now that
Yes.
you can take big game with. And I think a shotgun is the most versatile weapon out there and can be used for all sorts of things.
There you go.
So,
But you're not satisfied with that, right?
I mean, but you don't want. You want to own everything. You don't own anything
He didn't say
that's
no,
out there.
no, no rocket launchers.
No rocket launcher.
Landmines.
There you go. Claymores. I mean,
I
come
don't
on.
need a grenade.
Who needs a grenade? Flamethrower, maybe? I don't know.
Again, I think that would be fun to throw a grenade, though. It might be a little scary, but
I mean, that's
Might
why
be
we
honest.
have an army. You can join an army.
Yeah, join an army. Yeah, join an army.
you could. I wish I would have. I did
Yeah.
not, and I regret that.
Okay.
So,
Well, maybe next time.
But, I mean, but again, though,
Yeah.
I do support the Second Amendment. I don't want my rights infringed, but I get the other side of the argument. I
Sure.
know people are killed. I know there are criminals out there. I know people don't need a rocket launcher. Okay, AR is a semi-automatic rifle, like most weapons out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your handgun is semi-automatic. Other rifles are semi-automatic. Yeah, you can get lever action, single shot rifles.
The rifleman?
Lever action. I do have a lever action.
Stuck around.
That's fun.
Yeah. I've shot a 30-30. Is that lever action?
Yeah, I have a 30-30 lever action.
30-06.
It's a big gun. Well, and those guns, they're a lot more recoil than an AR, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fire an AR semi-automatic, a lot easier on your shoulder.
So,
So-
easier to kill a lot of people? I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
If a criminal so chose to do
Yeah,
so.
at the jail. Yeah, you're right.
So what do you think about that? I mean, Las Vegas shooter was,
Terrible incident.
yeah. So how do we fix that problem? I mean, you have to solve those type of problems.
Or the nightclub in Florida.
Nightclub in Florida or Sandy Hook. I
There
mean,
will be criminals forever. How do you stop criminal activity? I'm not smart enough to figure that out. Are you guys smart
No one
enough to
is.
figure that out? You just want to get rid of this. People are still going to be criminals
Mm-hmm.
without weapons. It still happens in Japan. Knife attacks.
They do?
In England, they banned single knife sales in the UK because people were using them to stab people
They were?
because they don't have firearms.
I'd rather be stabbed than shot.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
It's only
you,
hollow point round?
I'd rather neither. How about that?
Well, ideally.
So the question then is that we don't have the intellect to regulate this. Is that what we're?
Well, there are smart people out there on both sides, right?
But
I mean, they have regulated over the years. Republicans have done it. Democrats have done it. Supreme Courts have done it.
Right now, I got an email yesterday that the ATF has now set out new regulations for a firearm,
What is it?
a short-barreled rifle,
Okay.
because it has an arm cuff and it doesn't have a stock or a cheek rest. And you can either get a stamp for this pay or fix it and have a longer barrel on it, make it a rifle.
So what is the danger of the concealment? Is that what's the problem?
I mean,
Smaller, I don't know. For some reason, they don't like that forearm cuff sleeve that has instead of a stock, it holds it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Somebody at my work has it, or has one of those. Something like that, anyway.
yeah.
So that's interesting. I wonder what the reason is behind that. I don't know. Maybe that's,
Pistol's much easier to conceal.
yeah. I think Nixon banned certain pistols back in the 60s. What was it? It was
I
like
mean,
this-
Nixon did a lot of things that would not pass as a Republican Party right now. He would
Yeah,
not even
well,
get the
that's true.
nomination
That's
right
actually
now.
true. He was staunchly anti-gun.
He was
Very much so.
anti-gun. He wanted health care.
He did. Yeah, he wanted
he created EPA. So I mean,
pro-choice. He was pro-choice. Yeah, he's a weird one, isn't he?
yeah, I mean,
I was wondering about that, you guys. Are you guys? I'm sorry to just jump into.
Not at all.
something.
Actually, there's no format. There's whatever you
yeah.
want.
pro-choice.
Yeah. Pro-choice all the way.
Pro-choice.
Not all the way, but yeah.
I mean, I can. Yeah, you can put me in pro-choice category, but I'm not. Abortion at any time.
I didn't have anything further to go with that.
No,
Just
yeah, the
curious
preference
about
is that you
Talk to
don't-
you guys about that, and
We'd rather not, obviously.
I mean, we
right?
want as few abortions as possible.
Make the
but-
right choice.
Yeah,
Think through it.
but what we consider as if you're free, then you should be able to control your own body. Government should not come and tell you what to do with your own body. So that's where our freedom comes from.
was Bernie pro-choice?
Bernie was pro-choice.
Sorry.
I mean,
He beat me to it. About 60 years. I don't know.
so I mean that's our freedoms are more of a logical and standpoint. I mean, as far as
Your
it goes
your
from.
individual
Not sure what he meant by
beliefs.
that. Yeah.
You're saying I'm not logical.
No, no, I'm
No,
not sure.
that's not what we're saying.
Okay.
What we're saying, if you're free, if you consider yourself free, then you should be able to be free to do certain things. Where, on the other side, is saying you're free to own a gun, but you're not free to have an abortion. I mean, that's just not logic. There's no logic there.
That's what he meant by that.
Yeah.
You're anti-killing, but you're pro-killing.
No, being
We're
pro-choice, not pro-killing.
No, we're not doing
That's
rather
why
that.
they call
not-
it pro-choice, right? Because
Rather
they
you
couldn't
not
call
have-
it, they
yeah.
couldn't call it pro-death.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'd rather you not have an abortion. Right?
Yeah.
I get that, and you guys are reasonable guys. I think of myself as a reasonable person.
Sure.
I can see both sides here. I'm not blinded to this. I mean, there are situations where I rape. I don't know that
Incest?
yeah, absolutely. Well, I would consider that rape too.
Yeah. Okay, well, they define them differently on that side. That's why. But other than that, no? Anytime from conception to a day after, 2 days after,
I mean, if you found you found bacteria on Mars, that's life, right? But a cluster of cells is not.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
Don't know how you
argument,
define it.
right? At what point does that become life, or some bacteria in some planet is considered life?
Are you pro-death penalty?
Absolutely,
How? If you're pro-life.
because I believe you gave up those rights when you committed that crime.
It's interesting. You give up your
But
life.
it's also a life,
The child
right?
didn't have that choice, right? That cluster of cells didn't have that choice.
So,
This criminal chose to do what
so
he
the
did.
question is, where do these ideas come from? Right? Where do you get these ideas?
Where do I get to? My brain. I don't
Just the
know.
brain?
You think about it. You hear these things. You don't just believe one narrative. You look into it. You think about it. How do you personally feel? And I'm not blaming you guys for being pro-choice or any choices that you make.
Okay.
I guess it's just your stance. I'm not going to hate you for it.
Yeah, we don't want to hate anybody right now.
I mean,
We're all just having a conversation.
No, I mean in
No need to
general.
hate.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking specifically.
No, I know
I
what
mean,
you're saying.
we don't hate, if you're not pro-choice. I mean, you have a right not to do that. I mean, there is a choice there, right?
Sure.
So if you have that choice, why can't I have a choice to not?
I mean,
That is the thing.
that's where you stand.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you
mean,
have the right to believe that.
Yeah.
right to believe it, and you should have a right to control.
It's the
A
should.
woman's control. That's where it comes. The freedom. If you say we're the freest nation, okay, or we have freedoms,
More freedoms than everyone else.
anyone else, then
It's not really true, actually. But
I mean,
anyway.
it's not. But you should be free to do whatever you want with your own body.
So
I mean, as long as I'm not infringing, as you say, we're not infringing on your rights. I mean,
when does that life have rights?
it's undefined.
That would be the argument there, right? I mean, if everyone has a right, you have your freedoms. What about that child?
Are the cells self-aware?
I mean, that
Do cells have rights?
Is that not life?
Is it?
I believe so.
Okay. Is that all life or just human life? But that's the question,
That was
right?
good. I like that. That was good.
I mean, how do you define a person? I mean, is it a bunch of cells is a person?
Cluster of cells, it has the potential to be that person,
I mean,
to be a person, right?
So is scratching your nose. Clone those
I
cells
mean-
and make you a person. I mean, anything could be a person.
Not test tube life, I suppose.
I mean, as Bill Maher said one time, there's life in the room and there's erection.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's an
I
interesting
mean,
one. That's probably the toughest question. And it animates a lot of people to vote as well.
Yeah.
Right, the abortion
There you
question.
go. I don't have all the answers to the gun rights. We don't have all the answers to abortion.
I mean, that's why we started this podcast
Because we don't have the answers.
don't have the answers,
And that's okay.
and that's why we wanted to discuss these things.
Yeah.
So why me?
We
AJ?
choose you because you have interesting ideas from the other side. So,
And you're reasonable. Thank you
and
for
you're a
that.
reasonable
Hey.
person.
Thank you.
You don't seem to get mad.
I try not to. I hate when that happens.
So
You want to have a talk with someone and then they get angry at you.
I've been
Yeah.
there.
And I felt really bad when we were having a talk the last time, and another person joined in with a similar stance to my own. I didn't want that to happen because I don't want to feel like you're getting ganged up on.
Did you feel that?
no, I didn't feel that. I mean,
Well,
I was trying to be, as cordial as possible, and I was trying to give the other side of the argument, and but we were not seem to get across. But that's okay. I mean,
that's-
we don't have to
That's the
agree.
problem.
You'll always have
Yeah.
an impasse, right?
You're gonna have those times, those people.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's
It wasn't always this way. I think it's gotten a little more.
What about more so now, right? I support Trump, and it's immediately hate. There is no talking to that side, it seems. In the majority of cases, I get that you guys seem more reasonable.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the Bernie side of you. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's
you
just the
guys are
liberal
throwing
side
your
of us.
support behind Biden now?
No.
No, we're not
I'll
Biden
be
supporters.
writing Mickey Mouse in.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, Mickey Mouse.
I mean, whatever happens will happen. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll work on the Senate, but
I mean, personally, I'll
Down
be
ballot?
voting down ballot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to vote. If those are the only two names that are on top, I'll be leaving blank.
What are your problems with Trump?
I mean, there was season after season of that show, which huge amounts of people watched. Maybe not the people who write opinion columns, but the people who vote watched that show. And that show was all about presenting Donald Trump as a winning CEO, a decisive guy, a man who could, get the difficult decision done, a man who didn't hesitate while he, made his company work. That was the kind of, it was of course a phony image because it was a reality.
let's go first.
I mean, I know that I'm opening up Pandora's box here.
No, I mean he's basically just a Republican that does what Republicans do, tax cuts, which are unnecessary.
I mean, he doesn't have any ideas of his own. He doesn't. I mean, he's only a Republican because that's the only way he could get elected with his views.
Since 2011.
I mean,
Yeah.
but is it his policies or strictly because he is just Republican? Like, I mean, because you can have a Republican that you like some things about and you don't like some things about. You can same with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I
don't know
mean,
if
I
that's-
like Obama as a Republican.
No. Huh? Oh, as a
I like
Republican?
Obama as a
Yeah.
Republican. Yeah,
Yeah, he's Republican light.
yeah,
right?
Republican light. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
even Hillary as a Republican light would be okay. I mean,
Yeah.
she was a Republican basically, but I mean that we're not going to go there. But let's talk about Trump. I mean, I don't like Trump because he does not have any, convictions. He does not believe in any of those things
Yeah.
that he's claiming to believe. He's just, pretending to be somebody that he's not.
How do you know that?
He's
Because
never
all
held
his
views.
life he has not done any of those. I mean,
He was
if you
a
look at
liberal.
his,
his entire life.
yeah,
Now he has those opportunities as president of the United States, right?
He has the opportunity to change his views to become president.
He has opportunity to enact policies.
Sure. Which he couldn't do as a Democrat. Or he would have.
yeah.
I guarantee you would have. But, yeah, I think he,
I mean, he's a phony. That's
which is what I said in the
think.
beginning,
Yeah.
stokes racial animus.
Yeah,
The birther movement, that was a deal breaker right there. That was dumb.
yeah.
That was one of the dumbest things I've
that
ever
was-
seen.
They kept going with that over and over and over.
Yeah, there's not much about him that I can. He's a showman.
I get
what
it.
he's
He's
good
a
at.
talker. People don't like the way he talks either, right?
I don't care about that. I mean, his policies just they're not relevant to me to the 21st century.
I
mean,
give him one thing though. I mean, he has not started any new wars, and he is, as far as that's concerned. I mean, he's been probably the greatest.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that may be
Say
true.
that again.
Yeah.
You're talking about his peace deals in the Middle East?
No, those are lame.
No,
And
we're
those are
not talking about
worthless,
that. I mean,
but
we're
we're-
talking about exactly what it is. It's not started any new wars.
Okay.
basically.
Like Obama did.
Yeah,
So that's a good thing.
that's a good thing.
Well, has he pulled the troops back? I know he said that he was going to pull the troops back, but
He says a lot of things that he doesn't do.
I don't
Very.
know that Afghanistan has.
In fact, he threw the troops
that
off
is.
today. He made a statement about that today, and they were taken aback by it. Like, we didn't hear this. Like, where's this coming from? Because the Joint Chiefs are in quarantine; they're locked down. So I don't know.
Oh yeah.
He says things off the cuff without talking to anyone. I don't know. Another example, Antifa, right? Antifa, yeah.
Antifa?
Antifa.
Antifa, yeah.
So,
Oh, they're an idea, not an
well,
organization.
who said that?
Biden said that.
No, who said that?
On. Originally, I don't know. I heard it from
Homeland
Biden.
Security, right? They said that. So, are they wrong? And Trump is right? Are they the experts or not?
Antifa is an organization, not an idea.
Are they?
A violent organization.
What is the greatest threat to America domestically, according to Homeland Security?
I don't know. What is it?
AJ, what do you think it is?
White supremacy.
White supremacy. Number one threat is white supremacy and Russia. That was number two. But yeah, there we go again. They don't mention Antifa.
Russia.
They don't mention Black Lives Matter. Right? They're right-wing extreme groups. And we saw an example of that this weekend, right? Governor Whitmer. She was, it's a habit of mine, sorry. Did you see the plot to abduct her?
No.
Man,
Yeah.
there was a group of 6 people, actually 13. They wanted to storm her vacation house, yeah, and take her hostage. The other group wanted to bomb the Capitol, kill police officers. Was it Wolverine? What do they call it? The Wolverine
Yeah, it's
Watchmen?
something. Yeah, yeah.
Right-wing organization. That's the real threat. It's not Antifa. It's
Haven't
not
heard any of those.
Huh?
Haven't heard of any of those.
You know
But
why?
I have seen Antifa fight the cops.
But do you know why you haven't heard
Why-
it?
why-
Because right-wing media didn't talk about it. Fox won't talk about
Is
it.
there right-wing media?
Hmm?
Is there?
Yes, Fox.
You know, are they?
Yeah, they're pretty right-wing.
I mean, that's how they're touted right-wing, but a lot of times they're not.
What is right wing to you?
Yeah, that's interesting. We should define that.
Right-wing to me.
Mm.
I believe in I don't know. I don't have a definition.
So who do you
Split-
listen to? I mean, you get your news from somewhere, right? Who do you listen to?
Fox.
So I mean,
So they're good enough for that, right? They're good enough to get your news from. There is no.
But I look at more sources than that, right? I go to other channels, and YouTube helps me a lot. And I go and I find different people talking about what is going on in the
Well,
world.
I just go to the source. Like I go to Homeland Security website because those are the guys who determine who is terrorist or who's not a terrorist. I can't go to a news site. I don't like if I go to MSNBC or Fox. I don't trust that. So go to the source and you'll know. Right?
go to
right away.
the source, or you look at independent news source, not
Yeah,
you know,
YouTube.
somebody that I mean YouTube.
Well,
if you,
YouTube-
I mean YouTube, you're gonna get this feed that you are watching. You're gonna
Yeah, but
you start
you have
seeing
to
the
look
same
up other-
things.
I get that your feed will fill with what you've been listening to. But you can
Yeah.
search out those other things.
You can.
You can see both sides.
So do you listen to the both sides? I mean,
I do try to listen, but I am majoritarily one side on there. But
Okay.
I will look just because I'm curious about what the other side is saying or thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's reasonable. I mean, we do that all the. I do that. I mean, I don't know about
I
Daniel,
watch
but
Fox.
yeah, I mean,
I don't care.
I listen to the other side all the time just to see what are they coming up with.
Who's to blame?
Yeah,
The Muslims, the Mexicans, Black Lives Matter. That's what I get from Fox News. But it's consistent. Always. It's always that. So, I don't know. That's right wing to me. That, Breitbart, The Drudge used to be right wing until they started criticizing Trump.
Rush Limbaugh,
Rush Limbaugh,
Ben
Sean Hannity.
Shapiro. I mean, Ben Shapiro used to be a reasonable guy at one point. Now he's
Until the
just,
money came in.
Until
He's a very smart guy.
He's a very smart guy,
Yeah.
for sure. But he's
quick-witted.
also a grifter, just like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. And
what's the other one? That guy with the beard. He used to be on.
Gavin McInnes.
Proud Boys?
He's the guy with the ideas.
Oh, Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin.
He was a classical liberal.
I don't know. Dave.
You don't know? He was on Joe Rogan's show. He kind of tore him apart, but it doesn't matter. It's an
Yeah.
interesting guy. He's a libertarian.
But I do watch Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens.
Yeah. Well, look, the Republican Party used to have a lot of, like intellectuals, as far as like George Will and David Frum, Hugh Hewitt. Some really smart people who believe in a conservative movement. Those guys you're talking about believe in outrage. They're always angry about something, right? And they're getting paid well to do that. It's pretty much a grift. It's not really conservatism. It's just how angry can I seem to get more clicks, more views.
I mean, just look at Ben Shapiro's last one, and we talked about it. Was about the P word.
Oh,
Oh, Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, he was just totally outraged about something that's. I mean, if you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it. Just turn it off.
Well,
I mean,
I think his argument there was that kids are listening to this, right? They're being influenced by this. They think it's okay to talk like that. That this is what you're supposed to go for. It's not teaching your kids.
if you let
I mean,
if you let that teach your kids, you're not doing a job.
yeah,
It's not it's not her fault.
I mean, welcome to America. Welcome to raising children. Both parents are working. Sometimes the kids are home alone, or they have access to
I wonder why that
social
is.
media.
that both parents are working.
Everyone.
That's you going down another rabbit hole
Here goes
there.
economics, huh?
This generation's being raised by the internet.
Yeah. So what do? You
I
censor
mean, those
speech?
are.
Take away social media, man. Oh my God!
You wanna
Don't-
censor speech?
Don't give your kids a phone.
Well, then you're talking about parental rights, right? Not
Yeah.
not what she's doing wrong. That's parental
Talking about
choice.
parenting.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Better parenting.
We have no problem with that.
I mean, that's. Then again, it comes. Again, freedom.
I
I
get
mean,
it.
you have freedom to raise your kids as you want.
Anyway,
I mean, and
you want to go out in the country and
shoot-
homeschool them?
Yeah.
You guys are both parents, correct?
You bet.
Yeah.
I'm a parent, and I see the hate spewed on these social media platforms,
So do we.
targeting the kids, my kids, your kids, all kids. Now, I don't like that. I would rather my kids not have phones or access to that.
Do they not have
Parental
phones?
controls. They do.
They do.
They do.
Why?
Well, when my wife and I got married, she already had 2 kids,
Mm.
and they had phones. Well, their friends got phones, right? So there's a lot of
Pressure.
pressure from your children to do that. And then, of course, I'm not with my son's mother, so they have phones.
And that's it.
I mean, that.
I didn't get the say in
It's
that
the way it goes
situation.
sometimes.
That's the situation I put myself in. So.
Yeah.
I mean, so the thing comes again is the social issues. I mean, is it something that we are going to regulate now? I mean, how she talks or what kind of material she produced. I mean, back in the 50s when Elvis was the problem with shaking his leg.
Oh, and his hips.
Oh, yeah, his hips. Yeah.
Be careful with that.
So, I mean, at that time, that was the biggest thing. And now we don't even, think twice about it. In the 90s, Al Gore's wife, what was her name? Tipper Gore?
Tipper
Yeah.
Gore.
She was worried about video games,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rock and roll music.
rock and
Rock
roll
and roll
music.
music.
So
a
now
real
video
threat.
games are, Xbox and PlayStation
Yeah.
would not be what it is now if it wasn't for, video games
Yeah,
or
that's right.
people liking it. So,
And I'll
So the free
admit
market.
that I am guilty of that. My
Yeah.
children do play like Call of Duty games.
So does my son.
I turn off
yeah.
the blood, but
Well,
you're shooting another
you're still
person
shooting.
in the game, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, so for Ben Shapiro to be outraged like that, I mean, it just, I think it was a show. I think he was just playing to an audience. That's my opinion.
It's always been my opinion.
But just to look a little bit deeper, I mean, what's the outrage there? I mean, if you
What do
don't
you-
like the
I think-
material,
I
turn it
think-
off.
Yeah, he just didn't like it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
can absolutely turn it off. He can monitor what his
Yeah.
kids are getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with you.
yeah, I think that's pretty fair. That's easy, right? Easy. Freedom.
Freedom. There you go. Again, freedom.
Then you have to deal with your kid screaming and being mad at you. I hate you because you won't.
My son's never said that. Not yet.
Mine hasn't either.
And so I'm not sure if what I need to do to get that.
Yeah, I'm not
reaction.
that far yet.
Yeah.
I
So.
sent it to my parents. So.
Oh, me too. Me too. Maybe they've been more mellow, right? Every generation. Maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't know. But,
No, I don't know.
man, I don't either.
I mean, I'm not a strict dad, but I'm not their friend either.
No, I never
I
was.
don't know.
You have
Yeah.
the dad look. Give them that look.
Yeah, I mean, they know when I'm serious. I mean, they know that. I mean, I play around, I joke around all the time. They know. They say, "Daddy's more, more fun than their mother."
Yeah, I get that too.
But
But there is precedent, right, for the
Yeah.
for the look.
but they know when the game is over.
Yeah.
So
I only have one, so. But I'm sorry.
Mine too. They know when it's not
Yeah.
playtime anymore.
yeah.
Or
So
they're crossing that line.
They know the lines,
I
yeah,
know,
the limits. That's the important part, right? Putting limits.
So then again,
Restrictions.
we're again down to limits.
Back to
What are the
restrictions.
kids' rights?
Whatever I say they are. No, that's all right.
So where do you draw the line? I mean, that's the thing. How do you do that?
Don't
How do you come up with it?
I don't know. You sit down and you have these talks.
Well, like, look at pornography, right? Supreme Court did vote on that. They said that if it appeals to the prurient nature of man, like the sexual nature, then it's pornography. If it doesn't, it's art. So it's arbitrary. A lot of it's arbitrary. Just whatever the high court says, that's what you do, and you legislate based on that.
I am a fan of art.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So
So
I
it's-
like art too.
Yeah, it's something like that. That's just how it works. That's the way our system works, right? A lot of these rights are arbitrary. They can be modified. They can be restricted. They can be taken away. In some cases, there's no absolute right to any of these things. So we should do the best we can. Try to make that balance between freedom and security, right?
I mean, laws. What are laws? I mean, laws are just words on paper.
Where do those laws come from?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Where do
People,
they come
Right,
from?
you vote the people in that make these laws. You vote on these. You're deciding. The people are deciding these laws, right? And then they're enforced by.
Well,
Your
we think that,
state.
right? But how often do you know what laws they're passing?
No.
I have no
No,
idea.
I don't.
No one
I
does.
I don't either.
We have no idea. Nobody follows that for the most part. I mean, we
I
don't
mean,
have.
just to give you an example, and this is, I mean, totally off the topic, but in Texas, there used to be helmet law for motorcycle riders until there were lawmakers getting elected that like to ride motorcycles and they didn't want to wear a helmet. And all of a sudden, we didn't have helmet law. I mean, so does that mean helmets are not safe anymore?
No, it means you have the right to ride without a helmet.
That's
It is
right.
safe. You're taking that risk. You know that risk.
That's
That's
right.
what I'm saying. So there was a time when same lawmakers thought, you should wear a helmet because it was save lives. Now,
Messes up my hair.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's
it's.
beautiful hair.
I
It just
mean,
shows you how arbitrary it is.
Yeah,
it
I
can
mean-
change from
No,
day
I
to
get
day.
it.
they can change it. I mean, on I-10 from San Antonio to El Paso, you can drive 85 miles an hour.
Heck yeah.
It's legal speed limit. I mean, why is it not everywhere?
Good question.
Different county. These are laws in different areas, right?
They are.
I mean, so
comes down
these
to
are.
the-
I mean, these are just made up things. I mean, they
Yeah.
just make up. Okay, this is what. I mean,
Almost on a whim.
Yeah.
How do you get a terrible law off the books? how does that happen? How do you start that petition? You write in your congressman, your representatives?
Yeah, you get a coalition together. Yeah, it's not going to be one person. It's going to be a coalition of people.
Right now, I know the White House has a, if you get so many votes, I think it's 30,000 votes, you can get them to look at your petition.
Sure.
Correct.
Sure. I mean,
So it's
they've
just
done that
one.
for seceding from the Union. Texas has for
I thought we
years.
lost that right. Years ago, I thought Texas gave up that right.
No, they do it every year. They have a petition to secede. Every single year they put it
Yeah,
forward.
we had talked about that, but I thought the state of Texas gave that up. So these people are fighting for something that
Yeah.
Texas doesn't even have.
Well, I mean, it's under 14th Amendment, where if you incite, these type of movements, you're not going to be able to hold office or you're not going to be able to do, any of those things. But I don't know if they have given up the right to leave the Union.
I'd have to-
I
I
don't know.
I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I could have sworn.
You would like to be proud of that, to hold on to that, like
Yeah,
one
right,
last
as
piece
our-
of
our
independence, right?
flags up
Yeah.
over the United States.
I've thought about that a lot. It'd be an interesting thought experiment. What would happen if we did that? I think it'd
I
be.
mean, Somalia comes to mind.
Yeah, Somalia comes to mind.
Why does Somalia come to mind?
Well, that is the ultimate case of like just absolute freedoms. If you want to see what
Yeah.
it looks like? It looks like Somalia.
I mean, that's
There's no
the-
restrictions. Do
Yeah,
whatever you
there's
want.
No restrictions.
It's the
That's-
perfect libertarian idea.
I don't like that.
I know. No one likes
No.
that. People think they do, but they don't. They really don't.
I mean, Yemen is the other place there. I think after the United States is the second most place, the place that owns guns.
Oh, Yemen.
I mean, Yemen. So,
Yeah, Yemen.
We
Yemen.
will not
Yemen.
be going there.
Yeah. Only our bombs go there. We don't go there. just the bombs.
so I
Thanks to Saudi
mean,
Arabia.
more guns doesn't mean you have security.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
there's an example.
Lawlessness and more guns.
yeah. Well, they're in civil war, so it's one of those like. That's a problem over there. We had a civil war once. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
I remember that. Yeah.
A lot of
Is that
people died.
between the North and the South?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yankees and not. I don't know.
I was born in Wisconsin, so
Oh.
I'm not a native Texan. I got
Oh,
here
you're
as fast as
transplant.
I could, though.
Oh, look at that. Is that your bumper sticker?
Yeah, that's my bumper sticker. That's where I got that.
Oh man. So yeah, I think that's. I don't know. What do you think, AJ? Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
me too. Thanks for coming.
Oh,
No. I mean, like to Texas. We appreciate it.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Never would have had this
okay,
conversation.
I know.
So we've touched on gun rights. All right.
Last time gun rights.
Freedom of
yeah.
speech.
Freedom of speech, a little bit.
Abortion.
Abortion.
Abortion. Yeah.
Trump.
Trump.
We didn't really get into.
We didn't really get
but-
into Trump. Not too much.
So
wanna
why do
say
you?
more about him?
Let's talk about Trump. Why do you support Trump? What's the reason behind it?
Well, okay, so I didn't really get into politics until 2014. I got laid off, and when I went to go file my taxes, I was penalized for not having health insurance that I had on my job,
Sure.
and I didn't understand what was happening. What do you mean? And this is part of Obama's Affordable Care Act.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of that, and Trump repealed that. He took that part away. I liked that. I was upset that had happened, and then I like the idea of a border wall. So that was a big selling point for me. I like when Trump got up and he said, "You're not going to be able to buy me." I mean, maybe he is still taking that money from these lobbyists, but I like the idea. That really sold me.
So the wall is not there, you know. So do you still support him?
Well, he's still. If he wins again, he has 4 more years to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't
know
have
what-
the money.
You know what the
I get
idea
it.
for that
And
mandate?
he's been fighting this whole time, right? The Democrats have fought him since day one, before he even got into office. Maybe if this was a joint government, a bipartisan,
Can't be.
they never even gave him a chance.
So you like the wall. The reason was why you like the
Oh,
wall.
okay. So I liked. Well, I've been to the border. I know someone who worked on the border, a federal officer, and we went there and visited. It's just a barbed wire fence laying on the ground. You can just freely walk over either side in some of these cases. And well, I guess I'll tell you who it is. Right? It was my sister and her husband worked for the federal government. Not a park ranger. Okay? He's like a guy that they would drop off in the mountains to go hunt down drug runners. Serious guy.
Neat.
But anyway, he patrolled these borders. These borders are trashed beyond belief. You would not believe how much garbage is there. And you can make the argument that these people are coming across to get a better life. I think there are ways to do that because you don't know who's coming across. And I saw these people come across. We saw 20 people crossing the border, running up into the hills. My sister at her house, they lived close to the border, had illegals come to her door, and she's there with 3 children. That is scary.
So you
a
think
drug-
just to stop those people from trashing the place, is that why you like the wall?
No, I'm saying
sorry.
that is one of the consequences, okay?
Okay.
And so a drug runner in a vehicle crossed over the border, and he confronted them, and they tried to run him over with their vehicle. He was stopping us. They were bringing drugs in. And unfortunately for that guy, he didn't make it.
I mean,
Anything
so,
can cross the border.
yeah.
Sure.
So why do you think these people want to come over here? What is the reasoning behind it?
For a better life, or to commit crimes.
Okay, so why are these conditions that they have in their country for them to leave those? I mean, have you ever looked into that?
Say it again.
What are the conditions, or why these conditions exist that these people want to leave, their homeland or their place where they have grown up, their language, their culture, everything?
Corrupt government is one of them.
And how do we get the correct?
Well, that's for the people in Mexico to decide, right? They should stand up and fight and demand a better government. Are they
Okay.
a democracy?
This
So
last time
I'll give you
around-
another example.
Yeah.
Why do you think 7-Eleven doesn't sell Citgo gas anymore?
Why?
Have you ever?
I don't know. I've never
You don't
done
know
that.
where? Citgo gas came from Venezuela.
No. Okay. A failed socialist state.
Yeah. So and that's how they were failed, was because they were not able to earn money because the United States put sanctions on them.
Socialism would have failed that country anyway,
No, I mean,
How do you know?
I mean,
because it fails everywhere.
Where did it fail?
Everywhere.
Where?
I believe Israel and England attempted to do socialist governments.
Well, England right now has a mixed economy like ours. It's socialist capitalist, right?
yeah, I mean,
They tried to
they
turn it
provide-
into a socialist country.
How so?
It didn't work.
How'd they try? Well, what do they do to make it?
Oh,
I'm just curious what you think they tried to do. I mean, they have
and I
nationalized
can't
health care, right?
recall that article. I'm sorry, I don't actually have that fact. I'm just saying, as an example, I know countries have attempted to do this. And name a socialist company now or country now that.
I mean, we are
successful.
socialist. I mean, we have quasi-social.
We're mixed.
Yeah, we're
And
mixed.
my idea of this is free school, free health care.
Oh, if that's the case, then they're not failing at all.
Uh,
Look at Denmark. Look at Finland. They're doing just fine.
Are
They're
they?
doing, yes, yeah, they're doing
What about
great.
Sweden?
Sweden's doing fine. They're doing okay. They're
Okay,
still
but-
afloat.
And when you think of Sweden, what name a company that you think of Sweden? Right, would that be IKEA? And IKEA left because of socialist ideas.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Also, the largest food packing company was from Sweden, and they left because of these socialist ideas, these higher tax rates for these companies.
And that's all of Europe is like that. But Europe is still afloat, right? They're not
I mean, I don't have a
collapsing.
problem companies leaving. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can leave it. I mean,
Well, I
that
mean,
also comes down to freedom again. I mean, talking about freedom. Okay, you can leave, but you know, we can create laws for saying, okay, you can go.
Our companies do it. They
Yeah.
outsource all the time.
Yeah,
right?
but-
and
we're
we
not
lose
socialists.
those jobs.
We do. We have for many, many years.
And that's the problem. These skilled workers, these job creators leave to go to places where they don't have to pay these ridiculous tax rates.
What makes
So
them ridiculous?
why would you want to subsidize a a company with your money? I mean, just to look at
I mean, I get that argument as well. I mean, we're going to hold them afloat when they fail.
yeah. I mean, not just that. I mean, why would you want? Let's just say we have a big company from Arkansas. You know, that has posters in break rooms saying, "How do you get government money? How to get it?" Because they're not paying their employees enough. So why would you want to subsidize their profits with your tax dollars? I mean, you are paying. If their employees cannot meet their expenses,
I don't, and that company should fail.
but
It's a lot of companies.
I mean, you are subsidizing it. I mean,
I understand,
So-
and this drives competition. This drives better product, right? This is how innovation happens. Is you have these competing places. If they don't succeed, they don't succeed. It's how it should work, right? Capitalism.
Innovation happens in communist countries too. Look at China. A lot of innovation there.
yeah.
Massive cities, right? Infrastructure.
Massive
Yeah, railways.
pollution.
They do have massive pollution. They also have 1 billion people. We're
They
getting
do-
there
yeah,
too.
They do have a lot of people.
We're getting there as well.
Again,
They
we're
enjoy- they
getting
don't
off
enjoy
topic.
The
again.
same freedoms that we do.
They do
What about
not.
the tank man? Right? We don't.
Tiananmen
who-
Square?
Yeah. Who was that guy? We
What
don't
about Kent State
We don't
here?
know his name.
Remember the students at Kent State gunned down by the National Guard? Happened here too. It's not unusual. Black people in the 50s and 60s. It's no different here. I mean,
And
my
we
point is,
are changing. We work on these things,
We
right?
do.
There are,
and it's
I'm
hard.
sorry, unfortunate instances that happened in the past. It happened.
Or still happening.
We're still happening. And we work, we progress, we advance, and try to fix these things. We acknowledge these things. Is the Chinese government doing that? They lock away
China-
their citizens, and you never hear from them for any number of reasons. You saw the home videos when the pandemic happened, kicking in doors. People were taking videos that China didn't like.
Absolutely.
They don't have freedom of speech.
They don't. They don't at all. But that's a communist government. It's not a socialist
I get,
government.
yeah, it's not a communist government.
But they are responsible for the greatest, what is it, pulling most people out of poverty of any country ever. It's pretty impressive for being a
And
communist
it-
government.
I mean, that's a quasi-capitalism and
They are mixed
communism,
economy as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
They
Well,
are
the
mixed.
government is communist, but
Yeah.
the economy is capitalist.
yeah.
It's,
I mean,
it's one of those
the
weird,
only restrictions they have is you have to get a Chinese person to
Yeah.
be able to own a business there or bring your business there.
Sure.
So, I mean, these things work. I mean, there is no real capitalist
You can't have
country
it.
in the world. I mean, you just cannot have it.
And there was never a real socialist country ever. It's
Yeah.
never been done. In order for that to work, workers would have to control the means of production. It's never happened. So it doesn't. It's not a Marxian cap. It's what Republicans call socialism, right? It's not real. Socialism would be like Karl Marx's idea of it, and that's not ever been tried. So, to your point, it's never been tried. That's my point. It's never ever been tried, and probably
folks,
never will
we're about to getting close to our show.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
we had a lot more to go on economics. That was the big one. I was hoping we could get there closer.
I'm sorry, I'm not the most knowledgeable person
That's okay.
on those policies either.
But you could look those things up when you get a
You
chance.
can, you can, and
No,
I do.
when you do,
And
when you get a chance to.
Absolutely, I was listening to it on the way down.
Also, we didn't finish the topic about Trump.
We didn't.
Wall. So.
The wall.
And we
People
can
should
tell you
come
what-
in legally.
Yeah, yeah. They should make the immigration process
taking away,
easier.
those people coming in are not using the system. They're taking away the ability for other people who want to come in legally to come here. 50% of the world's immigration comes to the United States for our freedoms,
Yeah.
for the American dream.
Yeah.
And
What they
bringing
think it
more
is.
people in, putting pressure on our infrastructure, right? Our medical, economic, everything. They are affecting these. Millions of people are coming in.
Who wants immigration? Like,
Democratic votes.
no, that never happened. So no, it doesn't happen. So who wants immigration? Like, what group of people in this country?
Democrats.
No. AJ?
It's both, actually.
It's business.
Yeah.
Business wants
Oh,
immigration.
cheap labor?
Absolutely. That's why we have so much. And it's historically, that's why we have them in the country, because they want cheap labor. It's not Democrats who want votes.
Democrats want lower end immigration. Republicans want higher end immigration because it brings the wages in line. I mean,
I'm
you
saying,
bring it.
But can
so-
you bring people in legally to work those jobs instead of the illegal ones?
You can, but the process is so stymied by
Okay,
like,
well, then we can work
inefficiency.
on that. Why
Yeah.
can't we
Well,
work
what
on
are they doing now? What is Trump doing? Besides
Build
building
the
a wall,
wall.
are they increasing that efficiency at all?
I don't know. Are they?
You tell me. You're a supporter. I'm not a supporter. I thought you would know because I'm not.
I don't know that specific detail.
Okay. Well, we'll find out, and we'll.
I mean, we'll probably have to continue this next time.
I'd like you to come back.
Yeah,
I think we had a
will-
great time.
Oh,
Today.
it
We
was
want you
fun.
to come
I
back,
enjoyed it.
talk about this.
Wish
Yeah,
we had
it
more
was-
time.
Yeah, I wish
Did
we
we
can
get
have
2
more
hours
time.
next time?
Maybe we can book the studio next time for
All right.
a little longer.
I'm not going to
Go
get
for
mugged out in the parking lot when I leave, right?
We got your back. Don't worry about it.
Good.
We'll support you.
Well, thanks.
So thanks, people, for joining us again. Another episode of Dekorum.
Thank you, Mitch, for
And,
being here. Appreciate that.
Appreciate
Had a great
it.
time. And,
And,
see you next time.